Now look, in this video we're going to have a quick chat about how to become an industry leader. So it's interesting, I got asked this question and it got me thinking, okay, well, what does it actually take to become an industry leader? And what is an industry leader? So I think it's important to understand, well, an industry leader, I think, is somebody who's regarded as a professional in their field or an expert in their field. And if you were going to call upon somebody for advice or to be interviewed, by a major television network, that's the person that you'd go to. So, if you were going to create that type of persona for yourself and make yourself the industry leader, then there's some key things that you could be doing. And it's easier than it ever was before. In 20, 30 years ago, before the internet, it was very difficult to get your message out. It was very difficult to be seen as the expert in your field. Typically you would have to have a degree, you would be and you would be called upon for regular news bulletins, or you'd write a book or something like that. But that was fairly limited, and the channels to distribute your message was more limited than what it is today. In this day and age, it's very easy to get your message out there with all this digital marketing and this online media. It's very simple for you to be able to get your message out there. Now, having said that, it means that the marketplace is becoming more and more cluttered with a lot of information, and it's taking people longer to be able to sift through that information to find the experts in their field. So it's about doing it in a way that is what I call a multi-pronged approach, and I'm going to share with you today my strategy and the strategy that I've shared with others, and most of these I've learnt from other people, and these are some ways that you can become an industry leader. So I think the first thing that I'm going to cover off is public speaking. And it's, they've done a lot of surveys and people fear public speaking more than death itself. And I think that's crazy. And, what it means is you'd rather be in the box than giving the eulogy. But the reality is that public speaking, as soon as you're up on stage, it is the very reason of that fear, by the way, that means that once you're up on stage as a speaker, people respect you and see you as an industry expert, because you're able to get up on stage and speak about your craft without hesitation. And I think that's really important, to get confident at public speaking, especially if you're going to be successful in business. You don't have to, of course, but I think it's a good attribute to have. For me, I do a lot of public speaking and I'm very comfortable with it now. In fact, people say to me, do you still get nervous? And there was a very, a quote that I remember from a fellow called Alan Pease, who was asked the same question. And he said, I still get butterflies in my stomach, but they just fly in formation. So the good news is, it doesn't matter how experienced we are, we still get nervous. Now, if you didn't get nervous, it wouldn't mean you don't care. And that's my thing, is I get nervous because I care about providing enormous value. Even doing these videos, sometimes I can feel a little nervous before I jump in front of the camera. It's not a natural thing to do, but it's something that I've trained to do and I've got more comfortable with over time, because I think it's important, if I'm going to get my message out there and I want people to respect me and see me as an industry leader, then I've got to be the one that brings the message. I've got to be the one that's comfortable getting up on stage and public speaking. So public speaking's a big part of it. Of course, I'll do a whole nother video on how to be comfortable with public speaking, so keep an eye out for that. It's just an idea that I got right then. But I think it'll be a great video. The next thing then, the second thing that you could do is, if it is applicable to your industry, is make sure you've got all the accreditation in place. I'm a pilot, and I've been a pilot since 1995. And as a pilot, I've never worked as a pilot. I do have my commercial pilot's license. Now, having said that, when we talk in the pilot world, we get to a pilot barbecue, the question that is asked is, how many hours do you have and what qualifications do you have, or what endorsements is what they call them in pilot land. So if you've got a retractable undercarriage endorsement, that means you can fly a plane where the wheels go up and down. That puts you up a level as far as your experience or expertness. That's not even a word, but you know what I mean. Like it increases the gravity of which you hold in your rating. People look at you as a more professional, experienced pilot, and so that accreditation starts to see you as a bit of an expert in your field. I think the same thing applies in business, is that you can have your own, like if you can get an accreditation, if you're in one of those fields where accreditation applies, then you could be accredited, go and do a course and get an accreditation, and that may help you become an industry leader in your field. Now, there are a lot of other things you can do that aren't formal qualification type things as well, like the public speaking, and most of them, I think, more down that route. So the good news is you don't have to go to school forever, because it's a perceived thing. And that's like I said, the public speaking is a perception, because people are so afraid to be on stage that when they see someone on stage, they see them as an industry leader. Some other things that you can do. The third thing I would recommend is like YouTube videos like this. If you're the person that comes up every time someone does a Google search on your particular industry, of course you're going to be seen as the industry leader. So, you know, if you're in the industry of finance, then start a YouTube channel on finance and put a few videos up a week. It's very, very easy to do these days. And I will one day do a video on making videos, because a lot of people do ask me that question, and it's very simple. And it's very cost effective. It's not difficult to do at all. Yet the amount of people that are now mentioning it to me, oh, I saw you on YouTube. Well, you know, once again, it creates this persona, because you're now sharing your knowledge with the world. It doesn't mean that all the other people that don't have the knowledge, they've just chosen not to share it, which means that when somebody looks for it, they're not finding them, they're finding somebody who is sharing it. So in my industry, they're finding me. And I'm finding I'm getting more and more calls to be asked to be a judge at business awards or public speaking events, or because I'm out there. I put myself out in the public domain on YouTube for the world to see. So on that note, when we're talking about online, another great way to do that is to start a blog. Now I know some of you are probably wondering, what the hell is a blog? And for some of you, you'll know exactly what a blog is. Some of you will have a blog. So if you do have a blog regularly. If you don't have a blog, start blogging. It's very simple to do. It's where you just write your thoughts down. Now my blog typically is a transcription of these videos into the written word, because some people prefer to read. The other thing is, unfortunately, when somebody does a search on a topic, Google doesn't search through all the words that I speak in a video. It just looks at the title and the description. As we're in a blog, if I mention something about blogging, which I've just done, that word now gets put into a blog post, and when someone types about blogging, maybe my post will come up. So it's about making sure that you're accessible by the public when they do a search, when they're looking for a particular topic, that you're the one that comes up on page one. Because that's going to make you look like the industry expert, and they're going to come to you. It's going to help you. Another way that you could do it, once again with this online marketing media, is that you could start a podcast. And podcasting is fast becoming a very popular thing to do. If you've got a smartphone of some sort, you've got an iTunes account, you can access thousands and thousands of really cool podcast shows. They're like a radio show, and everyone does them a little bit differently. I've just started mine. It's called Business Brain Food. Go and look it up in the iTunes store. As of the time of recording this video, we had 4 episodes live. Be interesting to see how many are live by the time you watch this video and you go to the iTunes store. But podcasts are fast becoming a very popular way to get our message out there. And it's, you think about our life is hammered with all this media, but most of it we need to pay full attention to, whether it's television or it's YouTube videos. But podcasts is like the radio. It can just play in the background. You put it on your smartphone. You can listen to it whilst you're at the gym or mowing the lawn or whatever it might be. And it's a great way. But once again, if you're the person that is interviewing people you'd see as an industry leader, the other thing you could do is turn that on its head and go and find podcasts that are targeted at your market and offer yourself as a guest to be interviewed on the show. Once again, that would make you be perceived as an industry leader in your field. Something else that you could do, there's a couple of other things that are more offline, and one of them is an older method, which is writing a book. And you could take that online, of course. So you could have an e-book, or there's these electronic book readers now, like the Kindle, etc. But if you write a book, I think you're definitely going to be seen as an industry leader. And once again, it's getting very, very easy and cost effective to self-publish. And I think that writing your own book could be something you could do. Yet, you only got to look at the decline in bookstores to know that getting too many of them printed would be a mistake. So I wouldn't go crazy. Print enough to hand out at your public events, at your seminars, etc. But make sure you have an ebook version available, or even better, an audiobook version available for people to download. Now, my final tip is to get involved with an association, and you'd either be on the board, maybe the president or something like that, or you could start your own association or industry group. and you'd be seen as a leader in your field. So if you're going to be the industry leader of an industry that doesn't have an association, or maybe the association's not real good, that does happen, and you think that you could start an industry group that's going to be better, then go for it. Start your own industry group. I've seen people that have started, mastermind groups in an industry that have grown into huge industry groups. So, for example, they've said, let's all get together for lunch once a fortnight. There's a particular group of 6, 7, 8 of the same industry and brainstorm ideas, and then slowly people get invited to that group until it becomes a fully blown association. They're having conferences, So by starting an association or heading up an association, once again, you get to be seen as an industry leader in your industry, and people will come to you rather than to the opposition because they're looking for an expert in their field. So hopefully that's helped you get your head around how to become an industry leader. It's not going to be something that will happen overnight, by the way. You need to work hard at it. It's many, many presentations, many, many videos, many podcasts, many books, all of these things take time to do. So it's about putting your plan together and slowly working away at it. Of course, if you've got any comments or suggestions down below the video, you can leave those in the comment section. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'd love to get you to stick around and watch some other videos. Hopefully it's been helpful. Until next time, have a profitable day.